I am privileged to introduce to you Eva Raposa. Eva is a devoted mother of two teenagers and a partner of 20 years, and she's passionate about creating joyful, healthy family environments. Her mission is to empower parents, inspired her she inspired her business a step beyond integrative wellness and life coaching. Wow, that sounds great. With certifications in life coaching, Qigong, and spirit camp instruction, Eva offers membership programs, coaching, and innovative wellness solutions. As a Lifewave distributor, she provides crystal technology products to revitalize aging stem cells, supporting parents in their journey to better health. Through Spirit Camp modules, Eva also nurtures children's spiritual growth, fostering emotional stability and inner peace. With her holistic approach, Eva helps families thrive, balancing mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual well being. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Eva, we're really happy to have you here on the summit. And I just want to ask you, tell me a little bit about yourself prior to doing what you do now. How did you get here?
Well, it was a long journey. There was a beautiful beginning to my life. It was very peaceful. I was in Colorado Springs, a dead-end dirt road in the mountainside. It was just complete trust of all my neighbors and everything. And and it was also very cold. And so my parents moved us back east to Maryland area, and I got to grow up around DC and see a completely different side of the world. And I saw that there was a lot of mistrust or like lack of trust and fear and anger and different things like that going on in the world. And I kind of grew up with that for the second half of my childhood. So by young adult age, I was pretty depressed and I was struggling to make it through college while trying to be a psychologist. And so it was a crazy, like challenging time in my life. But what turned it around was a spiritual awakening that got me back on track with who I am and helped me to understand that the things that I went through really helped me to understand what people are going through. So, if I had just lived in Colorado, I would have been in a bubble and not really understood everybody. But because I went through a lot of hardships, I really get the low moments and like the difficulties that people experience. And because I've gotten myself out of them, I can guide others to get out too.
Oh, I love your empathy for people that go through tough times for sure. And again, when you say you had a really tough time, how did you come upon the spiritual awakening? That's kind of the interesting question I have. I had a spiritual awakening. How'd that happen?
Well, some of it was like internal things happening, other parts of it, other times, because it was sort of like in steps. So, the initial thing that happened to me was sort of like a feeling that encompassed my heart. It sort of was a burst of loving energy, and it kind of called out my name. It was just like Eva, and I was like,
Mm.
what? And so I was like, that like had to be God. I was like, I don't know what else does that to you. So that was my first kind of switch. That was right before I got depressed. I was like, wait a minute, like because a lot of times with an awakening, it's kind of like you go up real high and then you're kind of like slammed back down. So I realized I wasn't with the right person in my relationship. So I let him go. And then I was kind of alone. But instead of embracing this relationship with God, I just was like alone. So the depression settled in and life was really hard and dark. And I left school for a little while. I really went through some very bad. I mean, it's like all the details are going to be in my book. I have a memoir because there's a lot of interesting things about my life, but and I can really go into them forever, but I know that this is a short period. So then there was another step many years later where I was introduced to somebody who had a mentor that changed her life by encouraging her to express her emotions and really just let it out rather than hold it in. And so she had actually a very poor relationship with her mom, and she was terrified of women because of how her mom treated her. And
Mhm.
so when the mentor encouraged her to cry it out, she cried for like I think she said like a year or maybe longer. She just kept crying and crying and crying. Finally, she let it out. She actually walked up to me out of nowhere at a festival we were at and said, "You look like somebody I know. Let me tell you my story." So this is how I found out about her and her mentor. I started watching her mentor's videos on YouTube, and it really clarified a lot of stuff for me that I felt kind of in my heart, but I never heard anyone say. And then it just sort of justified and solidified my kind of spiritual journey. And I began to let go of addictions, and I started counting more things as addictions. So I let go of any kind of drinking or smoking or even the animal products that I was eating. So now I've been vegan for like 8 years,
Mhm.
which is something I wanted to do since a little girl. But they really inspired me to say, trust yourself, believe that what you want is good, and you want to go for it. So that really turned everything around. And then I wanted to do something that was in alignment with my new found spirituality. And I sort of meditated on it. I was like, well, what would I do if I wasn't, because I've been at Trader Joe's for a really long time. And I was like, what would I do if I wasn't at Trader Joe's? And I got a message that said life coach. And I was like, okay. So I looked it up. It was a perfect match for me. I started getting certified in that. And then, I mean, like, I've just been like learning and loving life ever since. So, yeah, if you get a message that you don't recognize as your own voice, it's somebody else. It's probably good, actually. I mean, I know they scare you off with, oh, they're hearing voices, but sometimes those voices are good, especially if you're in a good place and you have good intentions and you're asking for help with something. So it's
This is
interesting. Yeah.
great. So, what kind of clients do you normally end up with? I have to say that because we just attract certain people, right? It's not like we're
Mhm.
picking them out. They're being drawn to us, right?
Yeah, and I have worked solely, I believe, with mothers. This is who I want to work with because I've known that my life purpose is to help children, and obviously we don't usually coach children. Their children aren't going to go buy our services, but their mothers are, and by helping the moms of children, then the children actually get a lot more help because most of the time they're just, living off of the energy of their parent. So if mom's in a good place and she's getting her needs met and she's able to express herself how she needs to, then things start falling into place beautifully and the family relationship improves. I mean, it's just all the dynamics just there's everything falls into place. So I love supporting moms. It's those are my favorite people and those are who are attracted to me.
That is terrific. And it is so true. If there is dis dis-ease, shall we say, in the whole family dynamics, the children suffer most because they don't understand it. But when you fix where it's coming from, it does make a big difference. That is so awesome. So now I
Mhm.
understand you also, aside from life coaching, you do a little something else, which is really, really awesome and fascinating for most people that don't know about it. And it's
Mhm.
stem cell regeneration type of work, right?
Right. Yeah.
Would you like to tell
Um,
us a little bit about that? That's
yeah,
awesome.
this was so neat. I fell into this. I was at a Mind Body Spirit Expo. I was networking with people there, trying to see who wanted to support me with the, spirit camp for kids or with the life coaching or anything. And I saw this booth and it was like almost the last day. I was like, all right, I'll go check it out because they had a picture of a woman going from like older to younger. And I mean, like
Yeah.
dramatically younger. I mean, she probably looked 20 years younger. And I was like, Okay, let me just go talk to them and see what this is about. Because it said technology and like all these things that I wasn't sure were part of what I was, meant to do. And so when I talked to this beautiful woman, Natalia, she explained it to me with way too much detail because she's a very detail-oriented person. But I can actually take in a lot of information if you're into human design. I'm a manifesting generator, so
Hmm.
I can take in all sorts of things and then create something new out of it. So I was able to understand her, and I was thank goodness I tried it out because there's a crystal patch. I'm looking for mine now. Okay, here it is. So this crystal patch is designed in a lab, but it's got a very intentional purpose. Okay, and there's a bunch of different patches, but like the one that most people use is called X39, and it's a general wellness patch that works with meridian lines. So if you use your acupressure points, you can kind of focus in on what you need help with. Or if you find a pain and you put it right on a pain, it'll go right into it. And like what it's doing is taking the light that's coming out of your body as heat. It's like a heat coming out, which is a light that we can't see, but it is detectable. I mean, you can see it in like night vision glasses and stuff. And it shines it right back in. It reflects it back in with this patch. And then what's going on inside is, oh gosh, there's this big word, geocopper peptides. I don't know. I don't know what the word is, but
That's
that goes
okay.
around. It gets activated by this light. And then it goes around and says, wake up, stem cells. Like it just gets stimulated to wake up the stem cells. And then once your stem cells are awakening, then you start experiencing life in your body like you did when you were younger. Things are just doing what they are supposed to rather than they're just not doing what they're supposed to, and that's kind of the difference between younger and older is how many stem cells are sleeping by the time we're 60. It's just like I think 90% by the time we're 60 are kind of dormant. They just sort of settle down and relax. And we just need to like wake them up again. And so really this isn't doing anything. It's not, there's no nothing leaching into my skin from this, it's just light. And it's just sending a message. Wake up, wake up. And then everything
That's
wakes up, and then stem cells do what they do. They go to the most important issue in your body and they start working on that. Once that's taken care of, they go to the next most important thing in your body, and your body knows what it needs. So it's really your body taking care of itself, and this is just kind of the catalyst that gets it going.
awesome. 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 How fun is that? And, I am familiar with Life Wave patches, and I will tell you for anybody watching, you need to contact Eva because they really do work. I used them since 5 years ago, and I could see a big difference. So definitely get in touch with Eva. Now, I understand there's a little something you would like to offer the perhaps the viewers or the guests here. And would you like to mention something about that for them?
Yes. So I have an app. It's called Parenting Potential. And I'm inviting everyone to either check out the app or you can go to parentingpotentialapp.com if you just want to see it on the website. And in there, I've got all sorts of resources for parents. There's journaling, there are experts, there are what do we call it, like little mini courses and things like this. So it's kind of like a really cool place to get an ever growing number of resources for parenting. And hopefully soon, maybe early next year, we're hoping to have like a communication board in there so that you can chat with other parents or chat with me. And anyway, so I'm inviting you to the app, and then by becoming a member of the app, you're going to get access to a couple of free mini courses that I'm going to offer you. And so one of them is just a guided meditation. It's a visual meditation to meet your inner critic and your inner champion, and then get your inner champion to silence your inner critic. So, and
Wow.
this is awesome for adults, but children can use it too. So if you have a child dealing with a lot of, self-esteem, like they're kind of beating themselves up, like let them listen to this. And it's real quick and simple, and you can do it as often or, just do it once at least, and get that in your mind that your inner champion is there supporting you. So that's what I want to share
I
with you guys today.
I absolutely love that, our inner champion. And sure, we all sometimes forget we have one. And that's
Mhm.
what gets us in trouble, right? We try to do things alone, not realizing we have inner support, not just the people around us. But this was delightful, and I'm so glad we got a chance to speak. And I'm sure that everyone watching the summit is thrilled to have your information. We'll make sure we have all of the information and the links in the show notes. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Peggy.